We covered the first 7 slokas of chapter 5 in the previous video. A confused Arjuna asks Krishna which path, that is sannyasa yoga or karma yoga, between the two, which path is better for him. Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna that both the paths lead one to liberation, but karma yoga is easier to practice. Both are approved and recommended paths. The difference is that based on one's prakriti, based on the situations, people make their choices. Now, the prakriti and the situations are based on one's previous birth karma. Sri Krishna further explains that karma yoga is best suited for Arjuna because karma yoga practice is necessary to purify the mind. So, let us see what Lord Krishna tells about both the yogas in the subsequent shlokas. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit pashyan shrunvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapakshvasan pralapan visrujan grihnan anvishan nimishannapi indriyani indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan. Tattvavit yuktaha. Yuktaha, the karma yogi who knows the truth. Pashyan, seeing, shrunvan, hearing, sprishan, touching, jigran, smelling, ashnan, eating, gachan, walking, swapan, sleeping, shwasan, breathing, pralapan, speaking, visrujan, excreting, grihnan, grasping, unmishan, nimishan napi, opening and closing of the eyelids involuntarily. So, tattvavit yuktaha, that is a knower of the truth, his body keeps performing all these actions. Indriyani indriyarteshu vartante iti dharayan kinchiteva na karoti iti manyate. So what does this karma yogi think? Iti dharayan is ascertaining what indriyani indriyarteshu vartante, ascertaining that it is the senses engaged in various sense objects or material objects. It is the senses which are doing this. It is a body which is doing this. Kinchiteva na karoti iti manyate. So this knower of the truth, this karma yogi, in spite of performing all these activities, after ascertaining that it is the sense organs engaged in the various sense objects, body which performs all these aspects, all this work, kinchiteva na karoti iti manyate. He never thinks that he is performing all these activities. So a karma yogi who knows the truth, who is engaged in various activities such as seeing, eating, etc., understands that the sense organs are engaged in various activities and he does not think that he is performing them. This karma yogi who knows the nature of the Atma, who knows the truth, fully understands that the sense organs are continuously performing some activity while they engage with the sense objects. This knower of the truth, he disassociates himself with the activities of the body. The leg moves around, the eyes see, the mouth speaks, the mouth eats. So these activities are continuously performed by sense organs. The knower of the Brahman performs all the activities, but he perceives these activities as separate. He considers these as bodily activities. The feeling of doership arises, it derives from the contact with the senses. And this is because of the past activities in the previous Janma. But the Atma does not have to accept all this. So the knower of the truth, he separates the Atma, that is himself, from all these bodily activities. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate na sapapena padmapatramivambhasa. Yaha karmani brahmani adhaya, that is for the sake, that is by dedicating what? Yaha, that person who acts karmani brahmani adhaya, so he acts by dedicating all his actions to Brahman. Sangam tyaktva karoti, saha sangam tyaktva karoti. So sangam tyaktva, he gives up all attachments, and karoti, he performs action by giving up all attachment. Ambasa padmapatramiva papena na lipyate. That person is not affected by sins like a lotus leaf in water. Amba is water, Padma Patram is a lotus leaf. So just as lotus leaf, you may find that water does not stick on it. It kind of, it remains separate. Likewise, a person who gives up all attachment towards action, who is very detached while performing actions, he has no interest in the fruits of action, that person is not affected by sins. So in the previous shloka, the Lord Krishna tells us that one who disassociates himself with the actions, with the senses, and he does not consider himself as a doer of the actions, is not affected by the consequences of actions. But it is not easy to do this. Ordinary people like us can make a beginning by offering all our actions to the Brahma, who is the antithesis to the material matter. By offering all our actions to the Supreme Lord without any attachment for the fruits of action, one is not affected by any sins arising from the action. So the desire for fruits of action is a primary cause of ego and all attachments towards the physical body. So one can make a beginning, one can learn to disassociate ourselves from the bodily actions by devoting all the actions, by dedicating all the actions to the Brahma. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrayairapi yoginah karmam kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. Yoginah, that is karma yogi devotees, karmam kurvanti, they perform actions. With what do they perform actions? Indriyaihi, sense organs, through the senses, manasa, mind, buddhaya, intellect, through the intellect, kayena, kaya is body, so with the body also they perform actions. And how do they perform? Sangam tyaktva, by giving up all attachments, they perform the actions. And for what purpose do they perform the actions? Atma shuddhaye karmam kurvanti, they perform actions for self-purification. So the yogi works by using his mind, body, intellect and senses to perform various actions. He is able to control his mind, body, intellect and senses by making himself free of raga dvesha and by being free from the desires towards rewards. So actions are performed by these yogis only for the purification of mind. Yuktah karma palam tyaktva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadyate. Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva, that is karma yogi, karma phalam tyaktva, after giving up the fruits of action, he has no desire for the fruits of action. Naishtikim shantim apnoti, so he obtains naishtikim shantim, everlasting peace in the form of realization of God. Ayuktaha kamakarena, on the other hand, ayuktaha, one who works for the fruits of action, kamakarena phale saktaha, that is because of his attachment towards the fruits of action, what happens to him? Nibadyate, he gets bound. So karma yogi who does nishkama karma gets everlasting peace and is liberated. On the other hand, one who works for phalam, with kama, with desire, he gets bound by his action. To explain that attachment is the root cause of bondage and the perpetual cycle of birth and death, Lord Krishna cites two examples. The first one is a positive one, yuktaha, that is, he refers to the karma yogi who works, who performs actions without any attachment, who does nishkama karma. So this person, what is the outcome? He gets eternal peace and is liberated. Now what happens to the ayuktaha, who is phale saktaha, that is, he is attached to the fruits of action? He gets bonded to the material world and he faces a cycle of birth and rebirth. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. Vashi is self-controlled. Sankhya yogi dehi. Sankhya yogi, a person who is practicing Sankhya yoga or Sannyasa yoga. And dehi is a man with a physical body. So a Sankhya yogi, na kurvan karayaneva. Kurvan is, he does not doing anything. So a Sankhya yogi doing nothing, na karayan. he is also not getting things done through others. Navadwara Pure, by relegating all the actions to the body, which has Navadwara Pure, which has 9 openings. Manasa Sanyasya Sukham Aste. So by mentally renouncing all the fruitive actions, he rests happily in, his mind happily rests in the Paramatma. So a Sankhya yogi, controlling all senses, neither acting nor causing others to act, relegates all the actions which has to the body which has 9 gates, and he experiences bliss by being lost in the form of Satchidananda, that is Paramatma. A Sankhya yogi or a sannyasi is one who has self-control. He has renounced all egocentric and desire-centric actions. His thoughts are always on the eternal. This content person is thus happy by relegating all the actions to the city of 9 gates. The city of 9 gates is nothing but the physical body. The Upanishads likens the body to a city of 9 gates. The 9 gates in the body are 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 2 apertures on the trunk, the genital organ and the excretory organ. So life without these is impossible. A sannyasi lives in the physical body which has Navadwara. The self-controlled sannyasi relegates all actions to the body, which is a city of 9 gates. So even though he resides in this body, he has no misconceptions on who he is. He disassociates the Atma from the body. So when a person does not identify himself with the body, he neither acts nor he causes to act. Na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srujati prabhuhu na karma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. Prabhu is Bhagavan, the God, the Lord. Lokasya kartrutvam na srujati karmani na. So the Lord himself, he neither directs our action nor does he control the nature of the actions. Neither of these comes from the Lord. Karma phala samyogam na. Also the relationship between the action and the fruits of action. He is not the creator of that also. Swabhavastu pravartate. So all this, the kind of actions that we do and association between action and fruits of action, all these occur only because swabhavastu pravartate. It's nature which leads to these actions. It's prakriti. It is our inherent nature. So the Lord himself does not create any sense of agency. He does not direct us, nor does he bind in every action to its fruits. Prabhu, so you can't blame the Lord. So Lord is not responsible for our getting bound to the material world. He does not make man perform activities, nor does he give him the results of the activities. It is the ignorance in us which makes us assume all this. It is our prakriti, the innate nature with which we are born because of the previous janma karmas. The swabhava that we get, that is the prakriti that we get, the natural propensity or the inclination with which people are born, they serve as impulses and make us act. Time to summarize what we have covered in the 8 to 14 shlokas. Lord Krishna in these slokas tells us that a karma yogi with a purified intellect performs all actions without attachment to the fruits. Just as the lotus leaf that floats on water does not get wet, likewise a karma yogi is unaffected by the sins that arise from action. The karma yogi is fully conscious that the Atma resides in the body which has 9 gates. Now residing in that body, he detaches himself from all the bodily actions. Finally, Lord Krishna tells us that it was not him who directs us to perform actions. Neither does he create the bodily, neither does he create the binding towards the fruits of action. It is the prakriti, the innate qualities in us which makes us act for the fruits of action. Thank you.